most of this book, says, okay, if you want to do that, there are no tactics I can tell you. There are no 5-step approaches. There are no easy ways to manipulate people into following you. None of that will work. And rather than pretending it will work and doing what a lot of people would have really liked, which is do these 7 things, check off these 6 boxes, and say these 7 incantations, I called the marketer's bluff. And I said, you can't do it that way. I got an old slide. I don't know how I did that. There we go. You can't do it that way. Then what you have to do is something fundamentally different. It's not business as usual. The Mormon Church, well known for being the fastest growing church in American history. And a lot of people think they grow because the missionaries go door to door ringing bells, which is basically human spam. Ring the bell, interrupt people who don't want to hear from you, move on. But if you look deeply into the numbers, what you see is that they grow because 4 people become a community of 8 or 16. Neighbors talking to neighbors, family members talking to family members. That it is, in fact, classic tribal behavior. If we talk about Gar Reynolds for a minute, Gar Reynolds runs PresentationZen.com. How many of you have been to the site? How many of you have bought the book? Okay, so last year, 125,000 or more, I can't remember the number, books got published in the United States. Among new authors, maybe 12 made it to the Amazon 500, and maybe 2 made it to the Amazon top 50 for the year, and Gar Reynolds was one of them. So I look at Gar Reynolds, and I don't know what he looks like, so I had to take a picture of one of his slides instead. The fact that I don't know what he looks like is important to the story. Because not only did I buy a copy of his book, but according to my Skidoo page, I sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copies of his book, because I blogged about it, because I'm a member of his tribe. It's a movement of people who are sick and tired of bullet-filled, ugly PowerPoint presentations. And I benefit when that group of people, the ones who are making the ugly presentations, get the message that Gar is sending. And I find that when I meet someone who makes presentations like I make presentations, that we like each other. Just like sometimes when I meet someone in Whole Foods, it turns out we like each other. What Gar did, though, is he really led this tribe. He connected this tribe. He was generous with the tribe. He created a movement around an idea. And when the book came out, it was merely a souvenir. It was merely the document that we could use to give to the people who don't get it yet so they could start following. Or even more technical, Avinash Kaushik. How many of you know Avinash? Fewer, but still an amazingly large number. Another bestseller from an unknown author in 12 languages so far. Why? Because Avinash goes around the world meeting with tribes of people who are obsessed with measurement and analytics. Yes, there are people like that. And when Avinash meets them, he connects them to each other. Autodesk didn't realize there were all these other people at Autodesk who were obsessed with his way of looking at the world, but there were. And by creating a center where there didn't used to be one, he was able to connect people who desperately wanted to be connected to create a tribe. In the offline world, in the physical world, let's talk about the M.Dot triathlon. Turns out there's triathlons all over. I didn't tell that guy to tattoo the word tribe to his kid. Turns out that you can run a triathlon in your backyard if you live near a body of water, right? All you gotta do is swim 2 miles and do all that other stuff. Why then, if you didn't qualify for the real triathlon, the M.Dot triathlon, the one in Hawaii, why would you pay $40,000 to enter a race you know you're going to lose? Right? Because if you didn't qualify, you're going to lose. Because it's a tribal event. The M.Dot people are rolling in money because they figured out how to unite this group of people that had no one uniting them. Interesting rule about tribes. I've got a few here, some of which I learned from you in the online talk thing. The reverse Groucho rule. Groucho Marx famous for saying, I don't want to be a member of any club that would have me. The reverse Groucho rule is, I don't want to be a member of any club that would have you. And then one of the challenges, think about that for a minute, one of the challenges that you have if you want to lead them on a tribe is that lots of tribes don't want to let other people in. Lots of tribes are quite content to keep it small, quite content to keep it special. Leave the riffraff out, please. And then overcoming that becomes important if you've made the choice that you need a big tribe. There are 2 things you can do with a tribe. One thing you can do with your tribe is you can make it tighter. Right? So you can take the existing group you've got and get them more committed. The Hare Krishnas are good at this. You got to wear the outfit. You got to be a vegetarian. You got to shave your head. You got to sing the songs. So it's not easy to become a Hare Krishna, but once you're in, you're in. The other thing you can do, though, is you can make your tribe bigger. That by making the tribe bigger, you simulate this sort of power. Oprah Winfrey's tribe keeps getting bigger. You know why? Because it only takes 2 hours to join. You watch the TV show, you're in. It's free, you're done. And so she has a big tribe, but not nearly the impact per person that the Hare Krishnas have. This decision becomes important because if you look at the entire universe of the world, it's very easy to say, wait a minute, you can't come, you're a sports fan. You can't come because I don't like you. You can't come because this. And then over time, as tribes get more and more exclusionary, they may get more pure, but they also get a lot smaller. And then what you need to do as you approach this problem, this challenge, is you got to think in advance. What kind of tribe do you want? Would it be possible for this event to have 2,000 people at it if I had promoted it in a different way and been more aggressive and spent more money? Probably. But it wouldn't have been worth nearly as much because it wouldn't have been the right people. You're the right people. You're the right people because it wasn't that easy to get here. It wasn't that easy to find out about it. It wasn't that easy to jump through all the hoops. That's on purpose because it makes it tighter. And once it's tighter, it makes it more likely that the people who are doing it are committed. And when people are committed, things get done. That, in fact, you are no longer a marketing manager. Managers, by the way, don't lead. Managers take yesterday's work and do it again tomorrow, but a little cheaper. They know what they want and they know how it's done. Leaders aren't sure what's going to happen next. They just have a vision. That's what leadership is, unveiling the future. So I compare, say, Duran Duran to someone who's leading a tribe. Duran Duran does a comeback. They do their album. They put up billboards. They put up the website with all the rollovers and the JavaScript. And it's a failure. Because they're just yelling at people. There's no Duran Duran tribe. They abandoned the tribe 20 years ago. And they just left them alone. And instead of coming back and organically growing this group of people, they just started yelling and hoped that people would come back. Whereas the Red Sox, if they're Red Sox fans, this is where usually they sigh. The Red Sox looked at the world and they said, wait, we won the World Series, but we're not going to win every year. We can't get a new stadium because this one's the one we got. So how are we going to grow? They decided to do things like hire all-star Japanese baseball players at high salaries. Why? It extends the tribe into a whole new country. They decided to create garb and clothing and expressions that could be transcending geography and connect people who want to be against the Yankees, who like being underdogs, and it's worked. Nature Conservancy, figuring out how to build a brand that people are willing to tattoo on the back of their head. Another decision about tightness versus scale. Now, one thing you got to understand is that every market has people who might join your tribe. But not everyone will ever join any tribe. If everyone joins every tribe, it's not a tribe anymore. Oxygen breathing, that's not a tribe. It's just something everyone does. So you may have something for the yellow circles, but not the purple circles. And you need to think about the fact that you're never going to convert everyone, that you don't need to convert everyone. All right, so this is the point at which I get annoyed. Because what a lot of people want to know is tell me exactly how to do this. Tell me what I should do tomorrow to make this work. Now, it's fun to riff about what you might do. That this tribe that many of you belong to, which has thousands of people in it, we learned a lot doing it. But the stuff that we learned is useless to you because it's just a tactic. When I did a word map of my book,